So welcome to this wonderful tour and celebration of entrepreneurship that we call Startup Maryland. I'm Mike Binko and co-chair with Julie Lenzer Kirk, and we're very fortunate to be joined by Governor O'Malley here as we kind of make our swing through the middle of our tour. We're exactly halfway through a 2.5-week tour around the state and meeting all kinds of entrepreneurs and learning about the innovation economy that we have here. But we wanted to kind of sit down and talk with you about some of the initiatives that Maryland is pushing and kind of how Maryland is positioning itself so well. I mean, everybody would probably agree we're in, top 1, top 5 of research dollars, voted best state for entrepreneurship and start a business by the chambers. Let us know, how we're doing this at the top.
Well, we believe in Maryland that the best asset we have for creating new jobs for this new economy is really the talents, the skills, the education levels, the creativity of our people. And we're very blessed in Maryland with some tremendous, what we would call innovation assets. Mm-hmm. We know those things as NIH or Johns Hopkins, University of Maryland, here at UMBC. But really, what we need to do an even better job of as a state and as a people is moving the great ideas from the labs and from concept into the economic mainstream so we can create jobs. We know that the new jobs that are created, especially in times of transition and change, are created by entrepreneurs or are created by countless numbers of small family-owned businesses. They may start small, but they are the ones that have the greatest acceleration of growth. And what we've noticed here in our state is that for all of the bells and kudos that we get for being number one in research, that there's a delta of opportunity to be crossed between where our research is and where our commercialization is. So in looking at this objectively, we looked at it almost like an ecosystem. There are, in any successful, innovation economy, there has to be a certain balance to that ecosystem. And one of the places where we saw that we needed to strengthen ours was in the area of venture capital and also kind of that growth capital, that sort of startup capital. And there really is a continuum. There is a lot of investment and a lot of time and a lot of energy that goes into just moving an idea from the lab into a place where a venture capital firm might say, yeah, that one's ready, that one's mature.
And they want to prove it, and to get that working capital and the ability to kind of get the next inflection point that a private investor might be able to get involved. There's a lot of great resources that Maryland has. A lot of the entrepreneurs that we talk to don't even realize that there's 20 plus incubators, accelerators around this state. You're no more than 25 or 30 minutes from a resource that could really help you grow your business.
Yeah, some of our incubators have had some great success. I mean, it's not just about the incubators, but again, that's a part of the ecosystem. Increasingly, we're marketing also outside of our country. We created an incubator for foreign direct investment who recognize the assets that we have in Maryland and who want to start up their companies here. But really to grow indigenously from the creative and entrepreneurial Marylanders who are out there doing exciting, creative things is really our mission. So there's a couple of things we've done to accelerate that sort of and facilitate that conveyor belt from the lab and into our economy where we can create jobs and create businesses. One of them was InvestMaryland, where we passed a bill that allows big entities like insurance companies to forward pay their tax liabilities at a slight discount, and that allowed us to create $84 million in venture capital, which is administered by DBED for the Maryland, for InvestMaryland. We've had success with this in the past, and what we need to make sure we do is make sure that this is a revolving fund and not something that just, when it has a return, we can't be eating our seed corn. The other initiative that we did is called the Maryland Innovation Initiative, and that involves a consortium of University of Maryland, Johns Hopkins, also Morgan, coming together and saying, look, we have got to push more of our ideas out of the labs. It's not enough to write about great ideas and be published. we need to reward our great minds and our professors and our researchers for what they do in commercialization, for what they do in, translating those great ideas into applicable cures or innovations that create jobs. And so that Maryland Innovation Initiative was something we did just in the last legislative session. Only has about $5 million behind it, but I say only. If you're talking about 40 ideas a year, I mean, the idea is to get them out of the lab and into that critical period of time. Cross the gap and not have them die in the gap. Get them to a point where the venture capital wants to come in. And what you're doing with Startup Maryland and pulling people together, I mean, innovators, entrepreneurs, I mean, these folks, the work that they do is really collaborative work. It is the pinnacle of collaboration. I've never met an entrepreneur who said, I did this all by myself. I mean, it's a lot of collaboration. But they don't often collaborate in a political sense in order to come together and insist that their state government make the better choices, the better policy choices, the better investment choices that can allow our state government to become a platform and a convener and a facilitator of all of the innovation that our citizens are engaged in, so that we can help move those great ideas into job creation.
One thing we've also absorbed through our affiliation with Startup America is, when Julie and I have gone to the summits of the other regions that have launched, and there's 40 plus of them that either have launched or are launching, they're actually looking at some of the things that Maryland has done and done well, InvestMaryland being one of the more recent ones, as almost part of a playbook. And it was something where I think Maryland looked at how it had been done previously and how it had done itself, but also looked at maybe getting a little bit more progressive in the way that it's done. I think with the auction of the credits was something that folks are looking at as that very progressive way to do it, but it's probably a better way to do it than it's been done before. So seeing it oversubscribed, other people are saying, in a down economy,
what you expected, right?
It was. We thought we'd raise $75 million. We ended up raising $84 million.
So in a challenging economy, you were able to get oversubscribed in that mechanism. So I think a lot of people are looking at that as something they could replicate. So,
and we borrowed that idea from another state. We saw that Pennsylvania had done it.
That's what we do as entrepreneurs, right?
And in government, the same is true. I mean, some of the most successful actions and innovations we've brought to Maryland state government were things that we saw working in other places. We bring them here, we adapt them, we improve upon them, and I hope that people see the things that we're doing and improve upon them again, so that we might be the beneficiaries of that next generation and then that next better way of doing things.
Well, this tour that we're doing is more on the celebration and awareness side than kind of the tactical side of getting it done. But we just wanted to kind of put a big spotlight on the entrepreneurs and some of the innovations that are percolating under the cover. And we have been blown away by what we've seen so far on the Eastern Shore, Southern Maryland. We just hit Hartford County and Cecil, and now we're kind of spending a couple days in Baltimore, and then we get down to the D.C. suburbs and out to the Panhandle. So we're hitting all points in between. Every county has kind of been involved, and it's exciting to see, and we look forward to kind of putting that spotlight and a big megaphone in the hands of entrepreneurs in Maryland.
Well, it's great what you're doing. Julie and Mike, thank you so much, and everybody with Startup Maryland. There are so many challenges that our planet faces right now in terms of figuring out new ways to feed, fuel, and heal this world of ours. And that work, along with securing this world of ours in cyber and other ways, is all happening in the science and technology corridor. And there are many states that would like to be, say, the biotech capital or the cybersecurity epicenter, but those assets are here. And what we need to do is make sure we better connect and strengthen the connections between our innovators, our great researchers, and those in the business schools and other places that can put a business plan to those great ideas and mainstream them so that we can create jobs. So many of the jobs that are created, such a large percentage of the new jobs that are created by entrepreneurs. And that's why we're so very, very proud that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce named Maryland #1 for innovation and entrepreneurship. So thank you for pulling us together and shining a light on the great potential we have as a state to create more jobs for this new economy.
Well, and the thanks as well for leadership from above is how it happens, at many points down below. So we want to thank you for tuning in as well as we make this wonderful trip across the state. We're moving down to the other side of campus here at UMBC for the tour stop officially. We got a couple of co-hosts at UMBC, the Regional Manufacturing Institute, ETC, and then a couple of corporate sponsors that have joined us. So keep an eye out for the bus around Maryland and this thing we call Pitch Across Maryland.